Okay, so we're back again on this Monday. What we want to consider is what I'm going to do is I'm going to share another screen with you guys. So what we want to consider is this daily range on ES, right? We have, sorry, I'm trying to fix this up. So basically, we're within the previous day's range. So previous day's high, previous day's low. What we'll do is erase all drawings, and then what we'll do is we'll do from previous day's high to previous day's low. Okay, that way we know for a premium or discount relative to the previous day. So currently, I know there's a lot of indicators on here. And again, sorry, I have to change some of these levels. I usually don't even have these levels on there. But the 50% level is right here, so I'll just change that to a color everyone can see, purple. So 50, anything above 50% is premium, so we should be looking for sells above this region to get lower. Anything below should be looking for buys, at least on a higher time frame perspective. Now, we are going to be waiting until around 10 for a potential trade, maybe 9:45. But for right now, what we're seeing is we've got London high and Asian high here. So we may see a run above those levels, and then we may have a trade back down, or we may run below midnight open and the 50% level before, well, 9:30 is opening right now. We may run below those levels and then have a run up. So what we're doing right now is we're waiting patiently, just wanting to see if we're gonna get on if it's gonna respect. I'm actually gonna change the ratios on some of these to risk a little bit more. I'm trying to start risking how much I'm supposed to be risking. Um, Starts with just doing it. So, all right. Okay, so we're still just looking at the chart. These are the levels we're looking at. We got 9:30 opening that occurred, so then we're targeting 8:30. I think that we may shoot below these equal lows before we reverse from 8:30. So if it just does an immediate buy off 8:30, I will miss that trade, especially because premium discount levels, I want to make sure I'm buying in a discount, relatively speaking. So we will find out. But it's a very strong opening candle. What we did have already, if you zoom in, depending on the time frame you're on, if you're on the 1 minute, what we've had already is a fair value gap we reached into, sold from. You could say this is a breaker, the last set of down close and up close and uptrend. So it could be a unicorn trade down to the 8:30 level. It looks like we wicked the 8:30 level, may reverse, but again with 0.5 right there, I'm more likely to wait until we sweep both levels before I start buying up. May be wrong, but you have to be patient. Can't rush it. So you can see I have both charts set up already. So good to go for the day. Just waiting patiently to see if we get the interactions we're looking for. What I'm going to do is I'll move that chart back to the other screen so you won't be able to see it, but you will see the executions being made once it is time to enter a trade. Okay, so we're at the 8:30 midnight open levels. Let's see, let's go below them. That's the goal currently. It may respect them, which would be cool, but at the same time, like I said, that 0.5 region is a more probable level to target from a higher time frame perspective. And then from there, I would be looking to build in a bias of buys with a nice 5-point stop below that level. So just for reference, I'll put the screen back up. So potentially, I want to see price come below the 50% level, and then I want to buy up from below the 50% level where I can see a clean stop, and then I'll have plenty of targets. But we're gonna just have to wait and see, and we might fail to get lower. But again, like I want to be very precise with my entries, and when it comes to premium discount, I have to take that into consideration. Daily range, have to take that into consideration. Now, in a sense, we've already hit the 50% region, so there's a possibility that we don't actually go back to it again. But again, that was in pre-market, so to my understanding, once that 9:30 hits, we're gonna rebalance everything. So we swept the highs, most likely to sweep the lows. Could be a Judas sell for the official buy, And that's what I'm targeting to buy, and I want to get it at a better region than here. So what I'll do is I'll put an alert at this level. So once we pierce this level, there's an alert that's going to go off, and that's going to tell me to start being patient but looking for potential buys on the way back up. So we've got an alert set at that level. I'm going to move this screen back. So at 649675, we're looking for it to pierce that level, and then we potentially make a decision to buy it up from under that level. Now, if you did take the trade point um, off of the 830 level alone, potentially you could have already had about 4.5 points. If you use the limit order, could have had about 4.5 points. But again, I'm being very patient. Okay, I'm not jumping the gun. I do love 830. I do love midnight open. Okay, it hit 5 points, so that could have been a potential trade from those levels. But again, that discount area is for some reason is just giving me an idea that we may go a bit lower. So okay, but that's my perspective on it. So it's okay. It is okay. I'm gonna delete this previous day high. London high from a previous time period. I'm start adding some of the levels for today. So midnight open, we got that at around 649925. So 649925, midnight open. And I'm also just gonna label it /830 open too. Okay, I think my headset is gonna die, so I'm gonna switch it to a different audio source. One second. Yep. So what I will do is be patient. That's what I will do. I'll just be patient about my decision making. No need to rush into any decisions at this point in time. So we're just being patient. Could have gotten 5 points from 8:30 midnight open that happened at 9:32, but that's not my setup at this point. And then on top of it, now we're at London high, Asian high. So I may be looking for a sell in this region. If we can sweep those highs, I may be looking for a sell. Remember, the original markup was, um, sorry, the original markup is either break down below and buy up, or break above and then sell off. So what we did was we stopped early, might go up here to then sell off above. Then from that setup, could target those lows. So let's see if we'll get any of those trades. But as far as I know, the 8:30 midnight open would have been a great entry at 9:34. But again, I saw that 50% level and I was a little bit suspect. We just have to wait and see and be patient. Right, so let's see what levels we're looking at. So we got London high, Asian high. They're all at the same level of 65075. So we're gonna label that 65075. That's gonna be London Asian high. So we got London / Asian high that we're currently looks like we're rejecting off of. But personally, I'm not taking that short. It may work out, but it's Monday. I kind of want a certain level of confirmation, meaning I need to see price get ran, then a turtle soup, and I'll feel more comfortable. But at the same time, you can take these trades. It hit the levels directly, so that is an opportunity. Technically, it did sweep the highs here, so that could have been itself another 5-point trade, probably. Let me mark that up. So yeah, we've already went down about four. We went down about 5 points already. So that was another setup for 5 points off of levels. If you're willing to use the levels. So let's look for the next setup. We're just gonna wait. So look, it runs all the way back down. All right, so if you're really scalping, paying attention, you can catch that. If you're not, you won't. You have to be paying very close attention. So those are two different 5-point setups that we let go um, off of key levels. It's okay because the thought process is there are always going to be interaction at certain levels. There's going to be trades to take. There's no rush to um, take every single one of them. I want a more confirmed entry, even though these technically were good entries. Rejections at the levels, 5-point targets hit. Drawdown would have been minimal for either trade. It just comes down to not being scared. So maybe tomorrow I'll be a little bit more aggressive earlier just to get the trades. But I have a strange feeling we're gonna go below the 50% level, and then that's when the real buy is gonna come in, and that's when I want to be positioned to actually start taking advantage of the market. But the sells would have rang off from Asian high, London high. The buys from midnight open, 8:30 open would have rang off. But to me, I'm going to be patient and wait for a little bit more setups to occur. NQ doesn't have the same levels being used in a sense, so that also can kind of throw somebody off. But yes, respected the levels. So as long as you're using the levels, you can take advantage of a trade. But 5 points was given on the buy already. 5 points was given on the sell. Again, now we rejected off 8:30 again for it looks like another 5 points potentially. All right, so the regions can be used more than once, but I'm expecting multiple sweeps before we actually take off on the move. So I'm trying to be positioned for the actual move. I might only take 5 points on most of the accounts, maybe leave a run around the other. But in this territory, we're trading on an inside day, so we're inside the range, close to the 50% level. I'm anticipating we're going to run it. Some may say we already tapped it, so we don't have to run it. But I'm looking for us to run it for then me to make a safer buy below this region. But these buys right here would have worked out with the stop at the 50% level for only 2.5 points. So that could have been a great trade in terms of a buy. We just wait. Could have been a quick day if we had taken the trades initially, but again, like I said, I'm kind of a little bit more hesitant. I'm looking at that daily range, especially because it's Monday. Monday and Fridays, I want to be careful about just haphazardly entering trades. I want to really lock in on what that higher time frame is doing, and then pivot based on that. Let's see. So that would have been 2 buys off of 8:30 level so far. The main note for today would be possibly just taking the trade at the levels while it's there, just getting the trade on. Because there was a setup. But just got a little bit too comfortable. trying to show trading views so you guys can see what I'm all looking at. Just patiently waiting. Didn't take advantage of the good trades that were there, so just patiently waiting for additional setups. So MNQ looks like it's seeking new highs, while ES is not in the exact same formation, so that is a little bit off-putting, but that does give me more comfort in taking the buys at a lower region. Because if we are overall bullish on MNQ, maybe ES just needs to target the liquidity for us to actually take off. So we're going to find out shortly, because I do plan on taking a setup once we pierce those lower levels. I believe we're accumulating. This is consolidation's accumulation. Then we're going to manipulate down, distribute up. So I want to buy, I'm going to buy at the lows just for the distribution up. Just be patient to see if we get that. Especially with NQ seemingly acting like it's going to take the highs, it does create a scenario where I would want to get long on ES, but I want to make sure I'm looking at the right region. Now, we may hold at this last down close candle, never pierce 830 again, and that'll be a study point to pay attention to, but I have a strange feeling we're going to tap back into this 50% region, especially because it's coupled with this equal low, these equal lows, right? So I think we're going to tap back in below here. Then buys are going to ring off once we hit those levels. So let's see. And then the daily, I'm just going to label the daily range 0.5 because it says it here. It's 6497. So I'm going to label it on the other chart. 6497. That's the daily range 50% level. We want to buy under that. Okay. We're at midnight and 8:30 again. Let's see if we pierce them. Looks like we're holding at that 8:30 level. All right. Right now, it looks like we're holding at that daily level. So it looks like again, off of 830, could have had another 5-point trade. That's 3 buys off of 830. Judgment may have been clouded in the sense that there was opportunities to buy at those levels multiple times, but still just being patient to wait for the daily range to be swept, or the 50% level of the daily range to be hit again. That's what I'm really waiting on. I'm waiting for to buy in the deep discount level, um, relatively speaking, to the daily range. So it may not play out. MNQ looks like it's going back bullish. Let's see if ES will at least go back bearish just to take out that 50% level. And if not, it's okay. Just a pointing point, teaching point on paying attention. That fair value gap that we drew earlier, right in this region, is still holding up. Basically sending price down. Fair value gap sent price down. It's also a macro high in that region as well, inside of the fair value gap, so that's also additional confirmation. But I still believe we're accumulating to manipulate down and then distribute up. Because I am bullish. I'm bullish on the day. I'm bullish overall. Now levels what it gave after 9:30, only about one exact entry off of Asian high to midnight open, and it would have gave 3 entries off the buys. What that's telling me is there are stop losses below these buys and these equal lows that need to be taken for us to remain going higher, and then the sell side also has some equal highs that can be swept. So what we do is we just wait patiently until we get an opportunity to market in, possibly limiting in if we can see the market structure that forms. But typically I like to limit in when we have the levels that I like. This scenario is more so based on buying below the levels, buying below the 50% level on a higher time frame perspective. Still a scalp, but we're just using the higher time frame narrative. We're going to wait until that higher time frame narrative is confirmed. If it is not confirmed, we will not be taking the trade. That big push up may, let's see if that invalidates everything. I'm not sure if it will. I don't think it's over, but just got to be patient to see. What's up, Bryson? Bryson's here now. He's chilling. Let's see what's going on. Fair value gap. Fair value gap's holding price between, and then we have a London high, Asian high up here. We got midnight open 8:30 down here. I still want to hit that daily range 50% level before I buy. If we melt below the 50%, I have to be very careful. But if we just, sweep below it aggressively and then gives us an automatic, return, then that's how we're going to try to get in the trade. On a higher time frame perspective, it'll just be the safest buy entry, especially because we would have taken out all the other buy entry stop losses, and then anyone who bought earlier at 8 o'clock, take out their stop losses as well, which is key. And it might not happen, but that's what I'm projecting or predicting. Again, in the previous drawing that I had put up on the screen. So let me see. Careful. Careful, buddy. So just from a trading view perspective, we're still waiting
to see if we will have that breach below the levels and then an opportunity to buy up below them. It may not occur, but price likes to accumulate, which is all this consolidation, manipulate, then distribute. So if we manipulate up, we could distribute down, and if we manipulate down, we could distribute up. 10 o'clock hasn't reached yet, so I think we're safe. Let me just double check our actual news for the day. Just check the news, which is Forex Factory. So for news for today, we have no red folder news. So that's good, bad, whichever you believe it is. It means we can just trade without worrying about anything. It also means maybe less volatility, which to me doesn't really matter because yes, I'm not here to trade volatility. I'm here to just trade. If it was NQ and I'd cry, oh, I want 400 points. Look, NQ's taking the highs. So we have to just be patient because I believe ES is going to take the highs and I wanted a specific entry. And we might not get it. That's okay. I'm saying, like, the hindsight answer would have been, oh, take the trade from 830. Why didn't you take that? It's like, I saw that 50% region. I saw the equal lows. And something inside of me is saying, bro, don't take that trade because them equal lows are going to be swept. Now, mind you, 1, 2, 3 times could have taken the trade, took profit, been done for 5 points. Off the sells, it could have been 1, maybe 2 if you use the this macro high level as a B trade. You could have took the B trade there or the A trade here. So for me, A trades are levels such as midnight open, 8:30, previous day high, previous day low, London high, London low, Asian high, Asian low. Those are all considered A. And then B would be macro levels. Now, all of them we kind of want to use a good, ICT price action pattern or smart money price action pattern. But we're gonna find out if it's gonna play out or not. We just gotta be patient. The stream could have been shorter if I just taken it off of the open levels, the midnight high, London high, the Asian high, but very patiently expecting a 50% retracement or retracement back to 50%. Now this could be a good sell off of London high, Asian high as well. You see how fast it reacted. So trades like that, you do have to be very cognizant. But I do think, we have potential to still hit that 50% region. So maybe I will sell it down to that from here. But that fair value gap is kind of being respected on that. So I don't really like that. If I was going to be a bear, if I'm a bull, you could buy that up. Say it got inversed and buy that up. But let's see if we can just be patient. Just wait. Where London Asian high could sell from that level. What is NQ doing? NQ is just going higher. Let's see if we would have got a hypothetical quick 5 point short from this level. If we put a stop at 5 points. Some room. Target at 5 points. This looks like we're gonna hit that. Like I said, it would have been a good idea based on what my main idea is. But again, we're being very patient on this Monday. We will document and journal to see how many trades we could have taken hypothetically if we just were gung-ho and using each level just, arbitrarily. And sometimes for me, I have to go through the week to warm up to that idea. I don't usually just come in and just start putting a whole bunch of trades on because I'm not there. It's about capital conservation. It's not really about just taking every trade in all the time. It's capital conservation and being strategic with the trades we do take. That's what I'm currently working on, being much more strategic as opposed to emotionally just taking a position. But the cells do appear to be working out for the 5 points, like I said, and doesn't matter if we don't take it, but at the same time, you can be confident in knowing that levels really do play out and give an opportunity for the highest probability trades. So let's see if we can get a sweep of all these levels to then buy up, because I do still feel overall bullish on the day. As far as like crypto and all that, crypto looks pretty bullish, so that also gives me a good sign. We may be bullish for the day, but here's a sell trade that would have gave 5 points again off of. If you took it directly at that level, you'd already had 5 points. If you're taking it at the top of the fair value gap, you're still in it for another point, waiting for like 4 point profits, waiting for that fifth point. So there you go. That's 5 points on a sell trade if you took it. So we've now framed multiple trades. 5 point sell, 5 point sell, 5 point buy, 5 point buy, 5 point buy. So that's, over 25 points that could have been, taken based on A plus levels. That's 5 A plus trades. My thought process is that we are still going to run a certain level, and I want to buy in that discount, not premium. So let's see. Okay, 10 o'clock hit. So now that 10's here, what I'm expecting is that sweep, and then the buy entry is going to come in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be ready to do buy by limit. And we're looking for that 50% region to be swept. Now, not only is that the 50% region, it's also London low, Asian low. So buying below those regions is very powerful. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a limit below the lowest point in price action, 6496.5. 6496.5. I'm going to put limits there to see if we can trigger it. Buy limit. And then let's put a buy limit here at 649.65.
Order submit. Order submitted.
There. Let's see if we're going to get activated into our trade. We're now piercing 830 in London low. We're approaching, 830 at midnight open. We're approaching London low and that 50% region. So once we pierce that, we should be triggered in. See if we will be triggered in. Price wicked the level and reversed. Let's see if we'll get back down, sweep that wick, get our entry in, and then go up. May not happen, but again, we're being very strategic. We're not rushing anything. We're taking our time. The thought process is there. Buying below these levels is key. Technically, a buy could have already occurred below the levels, but we're looking for it to actually hit our limit order, which would sweep those equal lows. So if those equal lows aren't fully swept, then we're not going to be entered into the trade, and then we'll just have to look for another trade. But for now, we have 2 limit orders on. Got 2 limit orders on there. Let's see if we can get a fill. May have missed it because it hit the daily range by the 50% daily range perfectly, and now we got to see if it'll go back to the entry. Let's see if we get our limit fill. Not sure if we will. Okay if we don't. That's the truth, because no matter what, it always shows how powerful the levels are. Realizing that, you could have taken the trade earlier, or even if you don't get the optimal trade, there'll be another trade later. So just being patient, and understanding to the trade setup and what we're looking for. Because once 10 o'clock comes, we're looking to clean the board. We're looking for another, like, sweeps of liquidity to clean the board. So once we sweep the board for sells, hit the buy side of it. So at this point, we're just waiting to see if our entry will be triggered in. If we had put it directly on the 50, we may have been limited in. But we put it a little bit below because we're expecting it to wick it below it and then reverse. Now, it may not, but I'm prepared if it does. That's the thing. I'm prepared if it does. I'm ready to have my stop hit. I'm ready to be entered. If not, then that's what it is. But specifically with the 50% region there, I wanted to make sure that we took the trade below the levels, and might have been looking for a little bit too much precision. But only time will tell. We're gonna see if we get a return back to the level. May occur, may not occur. May have to remove the trade, the limit trade, potentially. So we have to just see. But the thesis is the same. We hit the 50% level. The thought process is we weren't going to actually go up for real until we touched that 50% level again. Now, did I think that we were just going to touch it in reverse? No, I thought we were going to go a little bit below it, so it would give me a chance to get in. But, if you had bought from the 50% level, you've already hit 5 points. If you bought directly at it, you've already hit 5 points. If you bought directly at that level, you've already hit your 5, and there's an opportunity for you to just take your profit. So that would be good if you already were, a buyer. But at this point, we're going to see if this sell plays out off of the macro low to then shoot down and trigger us in. If not, we'll look for another setup. But that's day trading. You just have to be patient and wait, and you got to just tape read the price action. What today's lesson, like I said, I'm gonna keep saying it so I can, because I'm the one who's, no one's watching this anyway. I'm the one who's reviewing it and listening to it. So note to self, just take the levels trades, especially if you're gonna be a seller. If you want it to be a buyer lower, at least take the sells from a higher standpoint. Take profits and give an opportunity to get that buyer lower. If you didn't want to take the buys, that's fine, but don't be afraid to take the sells back down to the buys. But if we had just taken it exactly at 50, it would have been okay. And I've theorized it the whole time on this chat. It's just waiting until the sweep. I didn't get the full sweep I wanted, in my opinion. But again, that was just a personal preference as far as like how perfect I want the entry to be. And that's partially why sometimes I don't like limits, because a limit usually it causes me to like sometimes miss a trade. Limits are actually fully needed, but when you're looking for 5 points, you kind of do want that precision. You do want that very specific level, so you can say 5 points below, 5 points above. So yeah, no sadness, no crazy. It's just a simple, could have bought and sold in certain levels and just didn't, and that's just what you have to live with. And every trading day it should be like that, where you have certain levels where there could have been action taken, but it wasn't for whatever reason, because you shouldn't be taking. You could take every single setup you see, but it's easy to go on tilt when you do that. And I get they talk about probability and all this other, but it's more so you just have to have good capital preservation regardless, whether you take it or not. Like, if you just keep taking everything with bad capital preservation, then it doesn't actually matter. You're just taking trades. And I don't want to be the person who's just taking trades just because. Even if there's a stream going, like, I want to make sure I'm showing my analysis and showing why. Like, my thesis is still relevant. I'm thinking that we're going to sweep the highs and shoot lower. Now, may I have over broadcast how high we would go? Potentially. May I over broadcast or over anticipate how low we could go? Potentially. But the thesis is still the same. Sweep liquidity, reverse. You okay? Alright, so we're back. Let's see what we get. So I'm back, but in total today already, just from what we saw, we could have had 4 buys. One, two, three, 4 buys. One, two. You could say this could be a third one, a B buy, sell off of the macro high, but five A. Wait, 4 A plus buys, 2 A plus sells, 1 B sell. All right, so the potential is there. Just have to capitalize on opportunities. But again, we're not worried if we miss any. We can always. We're just documenting how many we could have caught potential. Got an A right here. We've got. Oh, you guys can't see. I'm not showing the screen properly. Show the other screen. So we've got A here, and then another A that happens down here. Then you could say this was an A here, and then you could say this was A here, this is A here, and then B's. So B's would be the macro high as a sell. That would be a B, right? So at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A plus 6, 7, 8 plus setups. B, 1B. And if you start labeling trades like that, it'll make it easier for you. A is when a higher time frame level is involved. 8:30 is a higher time frame level. It happens once a day. Midnight open is a higher time frame level. It happens once a day. London high, London low is a higher time frame level. It happens once a day. Midnight open is, like I said, a higher time frame level. So 50% of the previous daily range. That's a higher time frame level. Whether you want to admit it or not, we wicked it perfectly. So even my analysis of 50% level was relevant. What was irrelevant was me wanting to buy below it in a sense, but I wanted to make sure we cleared the level, right? So there's a lot to look at, but you have to understand the relevance of everything in terms of why we take certain trades, why we don't. The reason I'm not haphazardly taking every trade is because we're in Monday and Friday. And Monday and Friday, I like to use the previous daily range because typically we're trading within an inside day and I want to buy below 50%. I want to sell above. Simple as that. This whole setup is still, look how weak the buys have been in comparison to the sells in a sense of just like how much the sells took, right? So like I'm thinking for the buys to take over, we need more liquidity to be taken. Now there's liquidity below this low, so we're waiting for that low to be taken. Then we'll be entered into a trade. Then we'd be, very gracious and manage the entry and such. But A's are higher time frame levels. B's are macro levels, right? C's is just straight price action, just unicorns, fair value, like anything 2022, ICT, those kind of things. Those are all C trades. Not saying ICTC. His PD arrays are the A levels. Those levels, he frames them as a PD array. So that's his higher time frame PD array that I will use. And B would be another lower time frame PD array, the macros. And then C would be just the price action as far as PD arrays with price action. So it just comes down to what tools you want to use and just being gracious with them. Had to be gracious. All right, so let's see if we're gonna get back down to where we were to get a potential entry. And we don't get upset. We just trade. We focus on our targets, what our goals are, understanding why or why not certain things worked, and we just use that. We use that as an initiative to get in or out of a trade, to make a decision, to plan, We use that. So now let's see. We're back down to midnight open, 8:30 open. Could have been done with the trading day already if I had just taken trades off of the levels exactly. But, you know, wasn't willing to, wanted to wait until another level was touched. So it's just a patience game. That's all it comes down to. It's not really this get rich quick game. It's a slow grind. Let's see. I think we may get triggered in. And if this trade fails, what that'll let me know is, despite the higher time frame PDRA 50% level, that sometimes we do have to take the trades at the regular other high time frame PDRA or higher time frame levels that we marked, that our indicator has marked for us. But again, we're just here to trade, bro. We're not here to cry about how it could have been the most perfect thing. We're just here to trade. So the key in all of this is just trading and just being grateful for the opportunity to be a trader. Just being grateful in the whole situation. Let's see what happens. Because on NQ, we're struggling to make the new highs. Looks like we're going back down. I don't know if we're going to go all the way to the 830 region on NQ. We might just hit the macro low and then reverse. But ES, I have a feeling we're going to hit the 50% level again. That's the macro level also. Now, if we measured previous day high to previous day low on NQ, you see the difference, right? Previous day high to previous day low on NQ, we're in the top, we're in the premium looking for sells. It's just different for ES. Now, ES, we're probably going to get triggered in. Got to see if we're going to get triggered in. If not, so be it. But we're watching closely. Limits there. This could be a sign next time have the limit directly on the level, not slightly below it. It's okay. Okay, that's another time it hit 50% and reversed. See if we get triggered in.
Order filled.
Okay, we're triggered in. We're in. We're looking for 5 points. See if price will reverse here at the 50% level. It swept the 50%. It swept New York's lows. I want to see if it's going to reverse. Now, we may have gotten caught on the actual sell-off. It may be selling off, and this trade may be invalidated. But I'm looking for bullish movement. I like the way that candle just closed. If we rush aggressively higher, I will just trail the stops. Well, actually, I'll just take the 5 points. It's Monday, so we just want to start with a winner if we can. I'm not going to trail them. I'm just going to wait. Let's wait to see if we get a return. back above. See if we can get a push up to get the 5 points. Which I think we should be able to. See if we can get back above midnight open, 8:30 open, close above it. That would be great. That would be a great sign. Let's see. Again, the premise was buy below the 50% level of that previous daily range. And I don't think looking for 5 points from that level is too much to ask for. We're managing risk. If there's another trade later that goes in alignment with this bullish sentiment, I may take it. For now, since we've been on the stream so long, I probably will just take the 5 points when it comes and not worry too much about trailing it, especially because MNQ is at the point where it doesn't have a similar trade or bias. MNQ is in a premium. So I'm not entirely sure the probability is in our favor for the extreme buy side that we'd be targeting. So I'm at least just going to take it off at that 5 point region. As long as we can get there, I'll be very grateful. If not, it's just a trade. That's what trades are for. You put them on, you take the risk, you see if you can hit target or not, and you just take it for what it is. You don't cry about it. You don't overanalyze. Like the overanalyze, I didn't have to overanalyze. I planned the trade, waited, took it. Now we're gonna see if it's gonna go in our favor. So we hit 8:30 midnight open. We didn't close above them, so I don't really like that. Let's see if we get back to those levels and can close above them. Otherwise, that's just a rejection for a sell-off. But let's see what we do. Because I anticipate us shooting above those levels briefly. Even if it's going to be selling off, it's going to have to return above them, then sell off. Let's see if I can get my 5 points. I like that there's a volume imbalance on the 1 minute chart that could possibly send us up. So hopefully that does work out. This trade again is based off the 50% level of the previous daily range and also buying below 8:30 midnight open, London low, Asian low. So we bought below 4 levels. We bought at the 50% level with a limit across at least 20 accounts, not counting challenges. So let's see if we can get a return to that 5 point target, which is just at 65015. So 65015, I don't think that's too much to ask for. but we are rejecting off 8:30 midnight open currently. So let's see if we will just pop above them those levels, or if it's just going to be a failure swing to go short. So let's see. Okay, looks like we're popping above those levels, which could be a good sign. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trail my stop once we get very close. If we don't just swipe the 5 points, I'm going to just trail the trade. Okay, we're shooting up. I'm going to drag my stop to break even. So we shouldn't lose any money on this position regardless of whatever happens. If price returns all the way back to my entry, we're out of the trade. But we're just in it, sitting. Especially when it's hitting 8:30 midnight open, I don't really like hitting that and not fully breaking it. It kind of gives me a bad feeling. So I'm grateful to be at least break even on the trade versus just have all the risk on the table. Because this is a higher time frame level where we could get an A plus sell off from, but I'm anticipating us to go bullish first, a little bit above the level before we sell off. And if that's wrong, at least the trade is covered, and then we may lose just the commission and spread, but we wouldn't lose any actual points at this point. Let's see if we can stay above that midnight open and 8:30 range. Looks like we are staying above that range. I'm going to move some of the TPs up in one account, and the other one I'm going to leave. Okay, so I was taken out on that set of accounts, and this set of accounts I'm just going to trail the stop. So the stop is now trailed, and we're just going to hold on to this position in these accounts and see what can happen. So you see the precision in the trade, right? This is precision. This is excellence. This is precision. So what we're going to do now, we're going to just close the
Order
position.
canceled.
We'll just close the position all out.
Order filled.
There's no reason to overstay in that position to prove that I can catch the full range. The goal was to get 5 points. I got a little bit more than 5 points in some accounts. I'm grateful. Now what we do is we close it up, and what we're going to do is we're going to reanalyze and come back a little bit later. So thank you for coming to this stream. I got my 5 points. I hope you were able to learn something from this. Again, just because I have a whole bunch of A plus setups that are forming doesn't mean I have to take all of them, especially when there's another higher time frame level that I am anticipating to be ran. Now, I tell you this. If you're coming in a Monday and a Friday, at the very least Monday, Friday, put the Fibonacci on the previous day's range so you know when you're buying at a discount and selling at a premium. My buy had minimal drawdown because I bought in a discount. When I close the position, it keeps running because guess what? Price is seeking other forms of liquidity, and I'm happy to make the trade and get out early. Now look, it is running further. That's perfectly fine. What we're going to do is we're going to come back later. We're not going to sit here and FOMO over what happened. Thank you for coming.